What's up YouTube? It's been 2 weeks, so we've got another Nitro haul here. Let's have a quick look through the bag and see what I've managed to harvest. High-tech flash floor. This is the car version. Oh no, it's not. We've got all directions on those. It says Pro Car, but it's been enabled for the left and right. Usually the one that says Pro Car is only forward, back, left and right. But this can do all four. Oh well. What's in here? Looks like some servos. That's 3003s. Made in Taiwan. So these earlier Futaba servos can be made in Japan, the earliest ones, and then in Taiwan. But they're actually significantly higher quality than the later ones. They tend to last longer, tend to be stronger, with more turning force and speed, and generally survive in an RC longer. What do we have here? Very distinctive body shape on these. Let's crack open the hood. We won't need these rusted clips. Ever seen one of these, guys? Look at that, 3-speed transmission. This is a Schumacher XTR 21E, also I think was called the Desert Storm. And what is notable about this vintage RC is that it had a Thunder Tiger Pro 21 engine, which is a very powerful engine, usually reserved for 1/8 scale, and even made it to their big monster trucks. There you go, Pro 21 R. But it's in a 1/10 scale truck. And not just a 1/10 scale, it's very lightweight 10th scale. It's not 4-wheel drive. It's not heavy duty construction. But it's got this mad 3-speed gearbox and just rear wheel drive. I definitely want to make some videos of one of these running because it just really is mental. All that power, 3 speeds. A real contender for a Nitro speedrun car. But yeah, look at the condition of this though. This doesn't look great. This clutch bell is seized. So not only is the engine seized, but the clutch is seized as well. This was common. They had an early rotor start system. Looks a little bit rusty, but these are actually very good rotor start systems. They're all metal construction with an Allen key head. So ideal for a drill start or whatever. No steering arm there. Front suspension is alright. The seems alright. We've got the steering arm here. Servo working alright. Rear suspension alright. Quite looks well bled, these oil dampers. Schumachers of the era had very good dampers. If you don't know, this era of Schumacher damper was some of the best available, and often people would fit them to other brands because they were just so good. So you'd see them on Yokomos, Kyoshos, any other competition car. This I'm not sure they all these XTRs came with this particular damper, but these are the good ones. Diff. Oh, that wheel's not turning. That's not turning. That's not turning. Big split in the tyre there. So not in a great shape, but a very interesting RC with this stamped steel chassis. Right, let's see what's next. Ooh, what is this? This looks like a Kyosho FW series, so this is a Super 10 size, not pure 10. Sometimes referred to as 8 scale. A Japanese 8 scale road car. So I think they're longer on a 280 wheelbase and about a 200mm width. FW03s. No front shaft in there. No front shaft. So what this scale runs is a bigger wheel, a 2.2 inch wheel. You can see a big differential there. Kyosho dampers, these are alright. You've got these front trailing arms, which I think are a pretty good idea in road setups, because they provide a lot of support in the rear direction. Surprised I don't see them more on buggies and stuff and off-road, where you do get that front end hit from landing jumps. And they're probably because they hamper the caster movement, which is your front wheel travelling backwards, which you need on off-road. Right, few Taba servos. Steering alright. Centre diff alright. Clutch spinning alright. Is the engine turning? Oh, yep. That sounds pretty good. Seems a bit jammed up. Non-corresponding rear dampers, they look like off a HPI. Got rear differential, gear type, very loose. Rear suspension working alright, rear suspension working alright. Now what engine have we got here? We've got a Shenghorn exhaust and a CZ engine. It's got an OS engine pull start on there, which is interesting. That's probably worth more than the car on its own. And it is working. Oh, and then here, oh good, we do have it. So it is an OS Max Z. Brilliant. What's this? 1/10 scale Nitro rim. What's different about these is this is a hard compound rubber. Almost feels solid. But that's what you need for these 1/10 Nitro touring cars, because they'll just shred up anything softer. And it will end up looking like that. Right, this is the smaller brother, or the predecessor to the XTR21E we saw. This was like an early iteration, so it's recognisable chassis, stamped pan. Although this is a stamped aluminium chassis, and the yellow one we saw was actual steel. You could tell by the rust, and this isn't rusty. So potentially a bit of a lightweight saving to put one of these on. But I suspect to handle the power and keep that a bit stable, they went to steel and have the weight down low in the car because it was just so crazy. So same sort of thing, 2-wheel drive, quite lightweight setup. Interesting, we got a fiberglass shock tower here. Again, might put that on the other one, have that fully upgraded. Basic suspension, steering. Funny missing the same arm on that side. More basic version of the shock absorber, I think. Non-plastic bodies up there. Still good shocks though. That's a bit oil, but you can see that is a good shock when they're bled, and that's how it is when it has leaked out some of the oil or is not full enough. So what's the chances of this driving well with one shock like that and one like that? Alright, so these were a lot more basic. They had an Irvin 15 engine. Which was like a much lower powered, simpler basic unit. But still no slouch. I mean, in this kind of weight with just rear wheel drive, that's still a fun nitro car to have, play with. And look, just one gear there. Feels a bit flimsy, doesn't it? And what's going on here? I'm not sure if this was normal, but some sort of flywheel outside the clutch bell, or reverse mounted. Can you see right in there? I don't think the light's good enough, but it's like the clutch bell is on backwards, and this is the flywheel here instead of on that side of the engine. So interesting setup to save space. It does allow the engine to be more centrally mounted, although only by like 10mm, isn't it? But from like a design point of view, it's not a bad way to go. I think that's a takeover from the 80s and early 90s circuit cars, where they would do everything for optimization. So one of the things was to reverse the flywheel and clutch assembly. This also allows you to put like a bump starter on this side and give it a good bump to start it. Easy access, although it has an old pull start here with the usual broken missing cord. On the rear you got these red alloy body shocks, no oil in that. This is a quick look at Schumacher drive shaft, which has is very similar to the Traxxas, with a cross shape in there and a corresponding cross on there. Let me know what you think's better. Do you like these plastic universal joint type things, telescopic tubes, or do you like metal dog bones? Easy to lose a dog bone in a field, much less easier to lose one of these. And these are universal joints on both ends. Alright, this shock, a bit better, but not great. What's next? What's this? Big boy plane engine. What do we have here? A 108. So this is a ASP 108. That's a big boy nitro engine, isn't it? Look at the size of that. Who'd like to see one of these with that 3-speed gearbox? I'll try and get it done for you. Yeah, big nitro engine, we'll have some fun with that. We'll do some fun stuff. What's in this bag? More of a vintage nitro here, an Enya 21CX. Bit of a broken fin. turning over, but very loose. I think you can hear a bit of a piston slapping in there. Still though, this is the sort of thing you're looking at for a period restoration, where you want things to be of the correct era, what was used at the time. That feels a bit loose to ever get running properly, but alright for display. Interesting exhaust assembly on that. Odd. What's this? Another XTR or XT. This time we've got the fiberglass shock body on the front, plastic one on the back, plastic dampers, the same broken steering arm. So maybe whoever was playing with these was just always on the oval and just smashing this one in the outside. That engine doesn't look too clever, like it's going to turn or do anything. Look at this big casting on the back for the pull start. Still went the way of the pull start. And what engine was that? That is so furred up, we can't tell. It might turn, but obviously that's not going to get you far with no liner and head. And a completely different clutch assembly situation here. Got the flywheel at the back, this fine tooth pinion on the front. Seems to be working. Rusty and bad, but smooth suspension. Well, between the three of these cars, we should be able to get a nice example made up. Old school Sanwa receiver, 27 megahertz. And the steel chassis, you can see the rust. But not too scratched up actually. Might clean up well that. Pro 21R with the old type cylinder head. I like these for restorations because it's a relatively modern engine. These make good power, they're reliable, they're well made, good metallurgy in them, and common across Thunder Tiger. But they got this vintage looking head which looks very old school, and it just looks just right in a period vehicle from the 70s, 80s, early 90s. But very well functioning, spares available, powerful engine to use. This has one of those pull roto start. Oh, it's going to come off. This has got the Schumacher type roto start, so that's your one-way bearing. Heavy duty, all metal, 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 and that's for your starter shaft. It's got something in it, but that's how these were. So if you're running a Thunder Tiger and you want a heavy duty type roto start, you want to get one of the Schumacher back plates. These are nice because they're light, they're metal, so they just look good and they work well, and it's an Allen key, so you won't get the broken pins and broken dog bone you get from roto start, HPI style. You can see a gold damper through there. Right, what's this? This is a Kyosho V1s. So this is 1/10 scale pure 10. So your much more common 1/10 scale touring car type size with the smaller wheels, slightly narrower body and a shorter wheelbase. Now this is their sports version of their circuit car, the V1R or the V1RR. So this V1S has a like similar plastic, similar suspension. I think it's nearly the same. So this pivot ball type suspension, there's hardly any play in that, and you can take up the play. So there's a reason why this is developed for competition use. It's just so much better than the more basic models. Smooth, stiff, four-wheel drive, but looks like a gear differential. The V1S, I mean the V1Rs and RRs, we're going to have various options on the front, probably a spool one way and things. It's got big fat diff in there. Look how big that is. Oh, it seems to be seized. It's not moving. Right, that's the view of the underside. Big cutouts to save weight. The narrow chassis, exemplifying, you know, circuit car design. You've got a big cutout because usually the circuit examples would use a bump start box. So you'd press this down on the box and a rubber wheel would knock that flywheel to get it going, so you don't have to have pull starts or any other starting system. Except the way this is mounted is like no rubber wheels getting that high up there. I think a competition engine on the engine mounts would be much lower. And notably, these V1S's only have 1 speed, but the V1Rs and stuff have a 2-speed arrangement there. So you got your clutch bell, spur gear, drive belt. There's a counter shaft across here and another belt to the front diff, which is all hidden under. Well, you can see the belt here on the front of that diff. So it's going alongside here. Counter shaft, second belt to here. Shaft into a gearbox and another belt to the rear. And look how heavy duty that rear belt is. Again, gear type differential, quite loose. Let's see if that's turning. No. So I suspect a lot of the bearings are seized, or oh, I can hear that grinding. And interestingly, we've got the OS Max CV 1/10 scale. Very interesting engine these for that really distinctive cylinder head. I think they look great. I remember spending my month's paper round money, or 2 months, or however long it took me, but a lot of it that I'll never forget, on buying one of these, and it never worked for me. Could never get it started, kept breaking the pull starts, couldn't get the spares. It was a real negative experience for me in RC. Cost me a lot of money and then was just a dud. But these are sought after now because of that Transformers type cylinder head, and it's distinctive of an era and a period. So that will definitely be, we'll try and restore that well. There you have it, V1S. What's in the radio box? Nothing. Okay, what else is here? Lots of wheels. All those wheels will be from the V1S. And then a bag full of real junk. Got a hyper engine. Turbo 21 pull start. Oh, that sounded good. Tyre. Look, I mean that just does look like proper junk. Alright boys, let me know what you think in the comments. Have you got any of those cars, any tips? What would you like to see restored? or a closer look at. Looks like we could have fun with them Schumachers, trying to get a good working one out of it. So subscribe, check out 2 weeks time, I'll have another bag of Nitro haul to go through.